going on, guys? You're sitting at home on the couch doing nothing? But that's why you're going to subscribe to Black is the New Rich, so you can learn something, educate your family, educate your friends. Do it all. Black is the New Rich. Peace. Obviously, you don't have to tell me the client, but what are some numbers you've seen through your expertise of email marketing when you did your job?
That moment where I'm like, I'm really good at what I do. Yeah. And this is it. It was when I had a new product release. It was something like $1,000 an hour.
Wow.
The email just kept on running and running and running. And I was watching it do that per hour on the new release. And I think that it made it to like $7,000 or something like that in the 7 hours.
We're back, episode 22, with a very important guest, because I believe a lot of beginner entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general, they overlook the importance of your email list. And this person I consider an email marketing expert. So I want her to just give all the gems that we need to further better our business. But if you would just introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much. My name is Shannon Hand. I am an email marketing guru, as people like to call it, an expert in my field. Overall, I'm a marketing director, so I help with a lot of marketing campaigns with e-commerce, events, summits. E-commerce is my favorite, but I do also help high-performing entrepreneurs. And I really just drive a lot of sales using email marketing and collecting customer first data to give better customer experiences so that everybody's happy. The person providing the services, the founders of the e-commerce brands, and then ultimately the consumers, making them happy.
Okay, dope. So correct me if I'm wrong. So for example, I feel like people or entrepreneurs overlook their email list or just email marketing in general. So I say it like this: if you have 100,000 followers on Instagram, and you have 100,000 followers on TikTok, those are those providers' customers. And your email list are your customers to engage in. And actually, it's a way to beat the algorithm because you're reaching them directly. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree, definitely.
Okay, dope. So before we get into the email marketing stuff, I want to know the lead up. How did you even get here? Because I know you personally, but I want to let everyone know.
Yeah, we've known each other for a while, for sure. So you've seen my entrepreneurial journey for years, like literally since I was like 23, 24. So, leading up to this, the first thing I did in business was my Airbnb cleaning company. I mean, you had an Airbnb at one point, and which I cleaned and then sent agents to clean and stuff as we built. And then with recognizing that, I'm good at business, I'm innovative, we're catching on to trends like Airbnb and stuff. And it's not just like a regular cleaning company. It made me believe in myself a lot more that I'm thinking different and I'm thinking things that other people aren't thinking. So if I could continue to learn more about business, I could figure out what areas in business I could specialize in. So I realized I'm really good at marketing because everything that I tried to do, there was a level of marketing in that. So I just marketed events, marketed, certain things that I wanted for myself, like certain products, certain cleaning companies and stuff like that when I had it, right? So it was just a constant buildup of figuring out I am good at marketing, but it's like, what do I specialize in? And it actually took me to do several free jobs, like free work, like any, especially like that. I'm a person that believes in, you have to get those 10,000 hours in or at least something, to consider yourself an expert. So that time that I put in and those opportunities that I seen that, I could have asked for money or I could have got paid, but I seen the opportunity. And if I could perform really well for this person and get that testimony and even tell them like, hey, if I do this for you, all I want from you is a testimony. I'm pretty new, so I'm really transparent with it. And people would give me opportunity because I would just pitch myself.
I think that's a big gem.
Yeah.
To work for testimonies.
Yeah. And I don't say work for free, right? I said work for the testimony, right? So I don't encourage free work necessarily, but definitely if you need to build your portfolio, because people want to see a portfolio, right? Absolutely. Where are the results? And I'm really big on the ROI. So I always came from a place of how can I add value or how can I support somebody when I seen somebody say, they need help in this area of digital marketing. I'm like, well, I know how to do that. Let me try that. It was like copywriting, right? And it's like, oh, I know how to do that. Let me try that. It's like building a landing page, just all of the digital marketing things. And then eventually once I got into email marketing, a friend of mine who was a client, started as a client, she had said in a text message when I asked her for a testimony, she's like, Chandel taught me how to funnel and she's so great at email marketing. And I'm sitting here like, I've taught you how to funnel? Like, I guess I built a funnel for you, but I'm just thinking it's digital marketing, you know? And so once I had somebody tell me that what I was doing was email marketing and what I was really doing was funneling, it was like, okay, well, that satisfied my client the most, the person I was working with the most. So I eventually just started specializing in that area, found a software that I really loved when it comes to email marketing, and became a partner with them. So I'm a partner with my email marketing software that I use, which is Klaviyo.
Dope.
And so now I just specialize in that area and I can really see results, right? So when I can see that I'm responsible for like 50% of revenue for people that I'm working with at times, it just is a no-brainer that that is what you do. So that's what I'm mostly known for now, is the email marketing side of things and really driving a lot of sales that are caught in limbo for a lot of people and a lot of e-commerce brands. But it was a long journey to get here, obviously. And then ultimately, I still consider myself a marketing director because I have a love for overall marketing, but we know that people that specialize in something get paid the most.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Okay, dope. So we're in 2022 and we have all these platforms, we have all these different tools, and obviously email is it's old now.
Yeah.
It's considered old. So would you say it's still useful in 2022?
100%. I know a lot in the digital marketing world. I just like to learn in general. And so for me to find myself in an area that has existed for so long, especially since I love trends and I love learning about the new things, I find that even though email is old, if you can adapt to what consumers really want in 2022, you're able to really engage that audience, like you said, right? So it's approaching it from a different perspective rather than the traditional style of email marketing that we're all really familiar with, which is potentially like getting spammed a little bit, and, you know, unsubscribing, giving somebody the wrong email. So like, you know, you just get the one discount code and then they don't spam you, all of those different things. You know, if you don't want somebody to know that you signed up for their freebie, you put in a fake code. There's all sorts of things that people do. But all in all, as long as you approach it differently, then you're going to be successful with email marketing. So putting the customer first, that's what I lead with always.
Okay, dope.
Keep them in mind.
I just want to let everybody know, because you did a couple templates for me and they were super dope. They're clean, they're concise, and I was actually like super impressed with those templates.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to let you know that. And with e-commerce businesses, right? How much would you say how much is email marketing responsible for that revenue?
Yeah, well, it's a good question because I have seen a lot of different brands, a lot of startups, a lot of established businesses, you know, businesses that are in big box stores, businesses that are just local, some that are tapping into international shipping. So luckily I get a very broad picture of what's kind of happening and what's possible. And it is still possible to be very successful without email marketing. I mean, a lot of people still don't participate in email marketing, whether it's e-commerce, believe it or not, or service providers, right? But the reality of it is that it is another sales channel, right? It is another marketing channel. So whenever it makes sense for people, founders, business owners to take advantage of that extra channel, it's just another channel, right? So I don't say stop doing social and start doing this, right? It's people have the conversation whether they should be on TikTok or Instagram or both and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that everlasting battle of when you have the capacity to expand to TikTok, because most people are probably on Instagram first, that unless you're, you know, under 20 or something, not under 20, but you know, there's room to implement it at the right time. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be rushed, but when I see a e-commerce brand that has thrived without email marketing, that's a beautiful thing to see, because when they do implement it, like they're taking their whole team on vacation or something. Like they have money, and if they're not, they're just holding it down. But with e-commerce, there's a lot of expenses that comes into it, right? To keep your product going and stuff like that. So that's something to consider too. So if you could add an extra 25% or 50% of additional revenue annually or even monthly, then that kind of offsets some of that cost of that capital for you to produce the bottles of your, you know, products and all these different things. So it's just additional revenue. So there's never a wrong time to implement it. Even if I was a brand new e-commerce business, hadn't even made a sale yet, if you have the capacity or somebody that knows it, knows email marketing, to slap it all up together while it's, while you can, because there's no money lost basically by having it set up, even if you have no traffic, you know. But that's a whole different conversation, is needing the traffic to go through those emails, right? So we could set up all the pretty emails, all of the, you know, deep, high intense flows and automations. But if you have no traffic going through those, then I can't help. Don't call my phone if there's no traffic going through that, because that happens, you know. And
so you need a little bit of
give and take here.
You need a little bit of traffic in order to do your best job with email marketing.
Exactly. And I can still set everything up so that when that traffic comes, it's already there, well-oiled machine. It's just about elevating it, which is a good idea. But it all depends on your priority as a brand, right? And things like that.
Okay. I'm going to get into some of your personal information. So obviously you don't have to tell me the client, but what are some numbers you've seen through your expertise of email marketing when you did your job?
Okay, so
what's going on, guys? You're sitting at home on the couch doing nothing? But that's why you're going to subscribe to Black is the New Rich, so you can learn something, educate your family, educate your friends, do it all. Black is the New Rich. Peace.
Oh, I actually thought about this before I came. I thought about this like yesterday, actually, because I was really thinking, like, what was that moment, you know, besides my friend telling me, you know, that what I had done for her was funneling and what I had taught her was email marketing, generally speaking. I thought about it. I'm like, what, other than that, what was that moment where I'm like, I'm really good at what I do and this is it. It was when I had a new product release. I really like new product releases and things like that, things that I could kind of roll out. So I had a new product release, and I think within like, I don't even remember what the time frame was now. I tell you, it was on my brain yesterday, but it was something like $1,000 an hour.
Wow.
The email just kept on running and running and running. And I was watching it do that per hour on the new release. And I think that it made it to like $7,000 or something like that in the 7 hours, or, you know, maybe it made it to like 15K. But when I'm telling you these numbers, it's like, because things have moved so fast, so quick. Like, I would send a campaign, it would make people $100 and $400 and $500. Then I would send more strategic campaigns and roll things out a lot better.
All through
and
email.
then I would see like it literally go to like 7K and 15,000 and things like that from one email. And I would be like, why don't I have an e-commerce business, first of all? You know, but all jokes aside, you know, just that, seeing that impact and knowing what that could do for a business owner.
For sure.
I'm a strong believer in return on investment, whether that's like new subscribers or money in the bank, you know, all of those good things. I like money. So I like to be able to give my clients money. I know you don't always have to sell that return on investment. You know, some people pay for things that will probably never pay them back financially, right? And it's very worthwhile to pay for those things. But just in my spirit, I have a lot of fun making people a lot of money.
Yeah. That gets you going. Okay, cool. So what about the service providers? Can they use an email marketing system with their business?
Yeah, I get the question a lot. Is service providers can learn a lot.
An example of some service providers that can use email marketing.
I think service providers can learn a lot from e-commerce. Obviously, the emails look very different, right? We don't promote a lot of sales as service providers and things like that. But just the approach that e-commerce has about them knowing so much about their customer. Service providers often don't know that much about their customer. They don't know when are people really coming around to buy from me, like seasonally and stuff like that, you know? So I think service providers can kind of take some of the lessons that e-commerce founders implement so that they can run a well-oiled system that is similar to e-com, but in their own way. So like service providers, like I've had my accountant ask me if, what are some strategies to reach back out to clients and stuff, just to remind them like your taxes are due. Like it's actually you doing them a favor, right? So it's not annoying if my accountant reminds me. Yeah, exactly. So little things like that, like make it make sense to your industry, right? So if my accountant sends me a reminder, I'm going to be really appreciative of that. And we know how taxes can be, right? So if I'm receiving a quarterly reminder, I'm not annoyed. I'm actually really grateful and things like that. So other than that, I know content creators that use email marketing, right? They're selling events, they're selling podcasts, technically, selling podcasts or whatever you're promoting. There is no one industry that benefits more from email marketing than the other. It really just depends on your strategy and where you're putting your energy, right?
True.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. So how can people start to build their email list and a quality email list?
Yeah. Good question, because I know a lot of people, especially when you hear email marketing and lead magnets, and those are the experts always talking about lead magnets, build the freebie, the checklist, the guide, the simple things.
Sorry,
right?
And to break that down, that like you're talking about, like, so let's say, for example, I'm like, hey, free gas card if you sign up.
Yeah, like free anything, honestly. Like, say somebody's a copywriter, it's like, free headlines for your next caption, and you're going to sign up for that because maybe you're not good at writing captions, but you need those 5 prompts to get your next 5 posts going, right? So there's a lot of things like that out there, and they do work. But what I want to tell people on this episode is your messaging is very key when you're trying to attract a quality lead.
Yes.
So it's cool to give things away for free, and it's cool to give relevant things away for free for your offer, but really focus on the messaging that's going to draw people in, not only for that free download of whatever it is, but also to stay in that nurture sequence, that automation of emails or whatever it is that you're sending them over a period of time to then warm them up to actually buy from you, or even refer a friend to you if your services or whatever it is you're promoting ultimately isn't for you. So leave space on the table for them to also maybe send somebody your way if it's not for them, right? So really coming at it from an approach of how many different benefits can this one lead magnet bring me? You know what I mean? And when it comes to like the free downloads and all of that, I've had many experts that I even follow from an email perspective, and they often recommend email series. And that's something that a lot of my clients that are currently doing, I'm finding that they're getting success in these email series, right? People want really specific content, especially if you're one of my favorite creators to any capacity, or even one of my favorite brands, I'm going to open your email no matter what you're putting out as the lead magnet. It's value based. I'm going to be on that specific email list no matter what. So it's really coming from a place of making people want to sign up for your email list. I call it an easy yes. What is the easy yes that people are going to give you their information? Because privacy things are changing right now. So we know the big corporations and stuff, there's different laws now where they can't really take all of our data and use it the way that they've been using it for the last who knows how long. We've been agreeing to those app agreements without reading, and they have been using our data. So what I've done is basically learned all of that information. And since everything's changing, how can we still have that what they knew? How can we implement that for service providers, e-commerce, so that no matter what free download you're building, no matter what you're offering, you're still able to really get that big corporate experience, but internally, no matter how big or small your startup is, if you're one person or if you're a team of 20, you still can, get that, I want to say conversion, because we know they're really making that big money understanding our data so well, right?
Yeah. Okay, dope. So I'm sure you're subscribed to a couple lists, right?
Yeah.
Some of your favorite lists, what led you to subscribe to them, if you remember?
Yeah, no, I'm a reader. So I think that's where my ease of writing comes in, and loving email. But my favorite email lists, they come from a really authentic place.
Okay.
Some of them are my mentors. Some of them are coaches that I wish I could work with.
Yeah. What type of information are you getting in those?
And the information is always going to be educational based.
Okay.
I find that they're not as salesy, but when they do sell, they actually almost ask permission to sell. They actually give me an opportunity to opt out if they're about to promote something.
Like, give me an example.
Well, I don't know, because I don't want to give away their strategies too much. Like, these aren't my own strategies. I would give them away if they were mine, you know?
Fair. That's juicy though.
Exactly. I might have to drop a reel that says, hey, these are a couple email lists that I suggest you signing up for because they're really valuable. So I'm not a person that only promotes my own things. Like who I follow, who's mentored me, all these good things. Like I promote them as well because there is gold in there. That's how I've been able to get to where I am. So I share the steps, you know, the stepping stones, even the people.
Okay, dope. So for someone that has, let's say, 300 subscribers to their email list and another person has 10,000, does the size of your list, how should I say this? Does the size of your list matter? Does size matter? Is that what you're asking me?
The
size of your email list matter?
All right, we keep it PG on the podcast. Does the size of your email list matter? Oh man, it does and it doesn't. So of course we get excited when we see vanity metrics, just like social media, right? But same thing, like social media. Is your email list engaged? So that's what it comes down to. Is your email list engaged and how many of those subscribers are engaged? There are some strategies of figuring out who is engaged and who isn't, you know, who's been on my website, who hasn't, you know, who's looking at the same item 3-4 times or who's trying to sign up for my program 3 or 4 times. Like there's really ways to know all of that information. And obviously somebody that's gone on your website a few times and browsed and all of those things, that's somebody you want to have a different conversation with that's obviously a lot more interested than somebody that spent 2 seconds on your website and hasn't gone back since.
Okay, dope. So for me, I'm getting a lot of SMS marketing messages, right? I feel like that is adding to the email game as well. How is SMS and email, how do they work together?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So I really recommend SMS, especially if somebody is thinking about getting into email. And it goes with saying how we were talking about email is kind of old. SMS is kind of the new.
Okay.
So really allowing them to complement each other will get you the best return on investment. So, you know, knowing a good, I call it a cadence, right? A flow, a sequence of when people are really going to be receiving what, because that's as important as what are they receiving? What are they receiving and when are they receiving it, right? And so if I just emailed somebody and I know that they didn't open my email, I can then send them a text message and they might open my text and they most likely will.
So they work together.
I can literally set it so that if you don't open my email and I see that and I'm like, why did you open my email? I will send a text, not manually. Everything is automatically, you know, if you open that text and go back on my site, different things like that, we're going to start having different conversations. And I'm going to also time when I'm going to have that conversation with you so that I'm not too annoying or abrasive, depending on the brand. You know, it's a different conversation. I mean, if anybody subscribes to Fashion Nova texts, that is the simplest way to put it. They have no shame, right? Kudos to the copywriter that is sending out those texts sometimes because they're actually really funny. And I think that's how they're able to keep subscribers, even though, you know, spammy. Sorry, Fashion Nova, you know, I probably still subscribe right now because sometimes they send out some witty type SMS messages. And obviously the deal sometimes just good. So, you know, you stay subscribed. And so it's a really good complimentary because I think I opted out of their email. They were doing too much.
They send that much.
They were doing too much.
Oh God.
But I'm still part of their SMS, right? So they catch me in limbo one way or the other. And I'm the person that does all of those things and they still catch me in limbo, you know? I actually subscribe to some fast food restaurants as well. And they email me and sometimes they text me and I had to unsubscribe from all of them because it's like 2 burgers for, you know, $5 at Harvey's. I'm sucked in every time. I had to unsubscribe.
Okay, dope. So for the beginner entrepreneur or the entrepreneur that doesn't have their email list going at all, what are some practical steps that they can take after listening to this podcast to start to build their email list?
Start to build their email list, and they have absolutely no list right now.
No list. They have a little bit of a following on Instagram. They're providing some products or whatever services. What can they do tomorrow to start?
I like
journey?
this. We had to paint the picture. Because each scenario is very different.
Yes,
very different. And I think that's important that we mention that, because, you know, a lot of marketers will tell you like the one size fits all type solution. And with the amount of businesses that I've worked with and the amount of individuals, everyone needs a different solution, generally speaking. Like there's some foundational information, but everybody needs a very customized solution depending on where they're at in business. But a good way to start collecting some subscribers, first of all, if you don't have a CRM, so what
is a CRM?
So basically a software that's able to keep all of your contacts in one place, basically.
Like
so
the Klaviyo, MailChimp, etc.
Yeah, so actually Klaviyo is actually an email service provider, but they are one of the email service providers that acts as a CRM. So because of how much data and information they collect on customers, it's like a CRM, but it's not. So like a CRM that I use is Honeybooks, right? So for Honeybooks, every time somebody wants to inquire about my services, I'm able to just literally capture their email. I'll ask them if they want promotional messages or not, of course, to get their consent. But regardless of if they consent or not, I'll always have at least that one way to collect all of the emails. And so once somebody signs up, like fills out a form or application to work with you, then you automatically capture that email. So CRM is just the basic business foundational way of you making sure that anybody that you're having a conversation with, you can follow up with them accordingly and just all of those good things. But if you're somebody that's like, okay, I don't really want to go the CRM route, or I already kind of have one, then what I would do, like we were saying, I would do the series. I would come up with some really specific messaging that's going to attract the person that you want, and say almost as simple, believe it or not, sign up for my email list. You know, sign up for my email list, but give people a reason why to sign up for your email list. Like if I don't care about you as a creator, as a podcaster, as a brand that can solve like a skin solution or like some kind of hair solution or something that I want, and you can't showcase that, I'm not going to sign up. So you really have to just market what it is that you have going on. Make sure your branding really stands out, right? Because it's a whole different ballgame. Branding, marketing, sales. Yeah, I know, this digital marketing world and business world is actually a lot more than people think, right? But it can be as simple as suggesting people to sign up on your email list, and people are often overcomplicating it. But if you make a really good video, short, sweet video, letting people know why to sign up on your email list, what you're going to be providing, what they can expect, you should get some subscribers. And if you don't, you might have to rethink your offer and like what it is that you're putting out and stuff, and why people aren't attracting to your email list. You know what I mean? There's probably something else broken in that pipeline as to why people aren't converting over to your list, right? But if you have, what you have is gold, I'm going to sign up for your list, you know? I get your newsletter.
You get mine?
I get yours.
Okay, dope. So I was just going to ask that about the newsletters. Do you think they're still valuable?
Once again, depending on who it is, like I feel like I've said it a whole bunch of times, but I subscribe to a couple of newsletters and I subscribe to a couple of series, but I say that to say it's really dependent on the person. Like there's a whole marketing newsletter that comes out like I think every day. Should I do a plug? I'm not going to do a plug, but like we get paid enough for that, right? But in the future, if they sponsor, maybe. But you know, there's different ways around it. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because we're just joking around. But what was the question? Sorry.
Oh, are newsletters still relevant? Are they still useful?
So our newsletters still useful. I sign up to a few. The ones that I do sign up to, they're very like morning newspaper style, Monday morning style emails, really get you in that. They're really thought leadership driven as well. So thought leadership, like people that really have big ideas on different current trending topics that are just important that business owners should know, marketers should know. So I'll sign up for things like that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And I guess that's kind of an overall question, but why is email and SMS a sweet spot for you?
Yeah, the sweet spot, probably because it puts customers at the forefront, at least the way that I do it. And it really educates them on what it is that we got going on. Whether it's an event, whether it's a product and why they should have it. And even just giving them the opportunity for us to say, this actually might not be for you. You know what I mean? Like, keep your money.
Yeah.
Some people need to keep their money. They need to open the email and the text. They need to keep their money.
Yeah.
Don't let my clients, hear me say that on this podcast, but also as it's my job to be the ethical one and all of those things, make sure things are done right. Not making brands look cheesy and stuff like that. Sure. So, yeah.
So I have a question. When people inquire about your expertise, right? How long, do you do let's say a year contract, or is this a forever thing, or how does it work?
Yeah, I've actually, throughout business, I've navigated it differently during different seasons and stuff. As we learn, we do things a little bit differently as business owners. Right now, all my contracts are 6 months plus.
Okay.
Up until recently, they were 3 months.
Okay.
And then leaning into the fourth quarter, I have a group program that's going to be very e-commerce driven to make sure that everybody can make some extra money during Cyber Month, because that's probably the most important month from 100%. An e-commerce perspective. So yeah, those are some things that I got going on right now, but I don't lock anybody in for a full year or anything like that.
But also you need time to show that what you can do too.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. To be honest, it is better to see the long-term benefit of it, depending on where you're at as a business, but long-term being a year, 2 years. Now that I'm more established in what I'm doing, I'm encouraging people to stick around for a year or two, because what I can do in a year or two, we really get to see the results, in comparison to me just comparing your fourth quarter this year to your fourth quarter last year, which I wasn't a part of, know?
Okay, fair. So what is an attractive client for you? Is it maybe they're making 100K in revenue a year? What's an attractive client for you?
An attractive client for me is a proven product or brand.
Oh, I got some people to connect you with.
Okay, yes. I love it. Because are they e-commerce or are they service providers?
E-commerce, yeah.
Sorry, service providers, but I really love e-commerce so much, because I know e-commerce has that high expense, right? I know the pressure that they could have, and I kind of like working under pressure. So I'm all right, I'm here to save the day, Attractive client for me is a proven product, something that people are already buying, something that potentially is in stores. Now I'm starting to work with brands that have their product in stores. Fair. So Target and all of the American stores, truthfully, Sephora and all of those things. And actually some people that I plan on working with are, in Hudson Bay and different things like that. Okay. So that can be appealing because I know consumers like their product.
They have some traffic.
So already. It's traffic, but also even if they didn't have traffic in the time period of me working with them, we know that we can have that traffic because people already like that product. True. So I love something that's already proven, tested. It just needs somebody else to kind of come in and give it that push so it could be a little bit more well-oiled and running. So I like to attract, the high-performing entrepreneur and founder, somebody that's already leaning towards 6 figures or has passed the 6 and 7 figures. Some of my clients are currently millionaires, and it really attracts me to work with people like that because obviously I get to learn. Do your
best work too.
Yeah, they're really happy with my work a lot of times. Yeah. Okay. I don't really get many complaints. I would say the last 6 months I got one complaint and it's easily sorted, and it's not even a complaint. It's just hey, let's fix this, fine tune it. And I'm really open to positive feedback. It only helps me get better. Yeah. And that's how I'm able to continue to attract high performing clients. Somebody that I want to work with right now is a celebrity chef and things like that. And the people whose house she's in and all that stuff, it just really inspires me to work with people that are doing big things because it reminds me this isn't where we're going to be forever, no matter how good things are right now. I mean, there's more levels to come, and that really excites me that I can be affiliated and network with those people, because I can imagine that, you know, wherever they can help me, they will, and support me and stuff. So it's a really good feeling to have those type of people that have already made it so far, be able to reach their hand back down. And even though I work with them and for them, they're still very humble and just like normal people, you know, cracking jokes like everybody else, but they've just done really good things. Like they just have really big bank accounts and bigger houses.
Yeah. Okay, dope. So you've done so much in your entrepreneurial career so far. What's next?
I like it. So what's next? I have been learning about equity.
Okay.
And
Talk to me about equity. Talk to me.
Oh my God, a whole different conversation again. So the way that my brain works, you already know. Like I just like to learn. I love information. I love applying information. So when I get really good at one thing, you would think, you know, it's like, okay, she's going to spend 10 years doing exactly that. But I'm always looking, always on the go. I thrive in like new information and stuff.
Too, to be honest.
Yeah, you know, so
Get
you know,
bored.
I don't know if I'm gonna be here next week or you know 2 months from now or how long I'm gonna live. So while I'm here, I do like to learn. I like to apply. Like to just it allows you to meet more people, be in more environments and stuff like that, right?
So are you interested in doing? This is a random question. Are you interested in doing like business for someone to get equity as a trade-off?
Yes. So that is the general direction that I'm going in. You know, people have mentioned equity to me. And then, you know, once I heard equity, I had heard it before, but your ears perk up differently at certain times, you know, when different people tell you things and stuff. So I had a quick conversation with, you know, my attorney, who's actually was a guest on your podcast as well. So as soon as I figured out what equity could potentially look like for me, I called my attorney so that I get the quality information, you know, right out of the gate, and was like, this is what I'm thinking. Tell me what you know. And from there, I've just been learning a lot more information so that I'm not just accepting equity from people that want to give it to me. I mean, it's great. But at the time, when people wanted to give it to me, and they still do, but I want to educate myself more, you know?
What you're getting into.
Yeah, I mean, we're signing contracts here and deals are getting bigger. So you got to make sure you know what you're getting into, especially when it's like signing contracts. So 100%. I'm learning as I go, but definitely equity, especially considering, you know, what I can give to e-commerce brands and stuff like that. But also knowing that some of these deals, you know, it's all about relationships. So for example, I never try and get the upper hand. Like, even though I know I'm responsible for 50% of revenue and I could run circles around what it is that we're doing, you know, it's really making sure that this is a really fair situation. You know, I'm going to give you this. This is what you're going to give me. You're happy. I'm happy. The relationship can last for, you know, longevity of things and not for just a short period of time to like milk somebody's equity out of their company. And then what do we have, you know, next year or in a couple months, right? Like this is really about building $3 million businesses and stuff like that plus, right? So I see the potential in what I know to add to founders as e-commerce brands. So it's just a really exciting place to be in, right? Because even though I do email marketing, I no longer stay exactly in that corner. And I'm able to really shine and branch with what I know, because as soon as I obviously start talking, it's like, are we even talking about email marketing anymore? It's too much information. It's filing cabinets up in there.
Okay, dope. So here's a question that I ask everybody on the show. And obviously we're not going to say any names, but I want to know the best advice that you've ever gotten and the worst. I've gotten a lot of advice. That's my goal. Let me think about this. So the best advice, worst advice. Worst advice would definitely be, I'm trying to pick one and I'm just like going through boop, 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 boop. Like how much bad advice have I been given in life, right? But bad advice actually was, and I'm glad I thought about it for a second, my high school teacher. She's one of my favorite high school teachers. My journal teacher. Did we have a journaling class? I don't even know. Creative writing. It was creative writing. Creative writing.
And I love to write. I wanted to be, well, I am a best-selling co-author, but I wanted to write out of high school, be an author, all of those good things, just write for a newspaper. I just wanted to write. But my creative writing teacher told me that there was no money in writing.
Wow, look at
and
that.
it was one of those things, where somebody like, I loved my creative writing teacher, you know?
Yeah.
And she immediately was this like adult that was like at a job teaching, clearly wasn't as happy as, now I can see she couldn't have been happy telling a 15-year-old to not write when she's teaching a creative writing class. And I wanted to like go forward to like school for it. But she told me there's no money in writing, the whole newspaper's dying, that whole thing,
She missed the curve, or she didn't see what was ahead.
She didn't see what was going to happen. And so, one best-selling co-authored book later and currently doing email and all of that stuff now. So I wish I didn't take that advice. Yeah. Clearly it wear it off now, as an adult. So I'm doing what I'm doing, but that was bad.
Yeah, that's terrible
high school
advice.
Teachers should not be telling kids what makes money. And I realized actually that she wasn't a writer, right? She's a high school teacher.
Interesting.
So I don't know why I listened, but I didn't understand that until I was older. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, she's not even a writer. She's a creative writing teacher.
To be honest, that's actually concerning, because if she's not even a creative writer and she's teaching a creative writing course,
maybe she creative written
for what?
Teaching. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to give her a break. She was my favorite teacher. So it's funny that, looking back years later, it's like, you actually shouldn't have been my favorite teacher. I actually delayed my success, but it's all up to you. Divine timing anyway, so it's all good. 100%. Best advice. I had somebody tell me, and there's gonna be two parts to this. One is somebody said, act like something's not happening. I was going through a really hard time in my life, and it was completely out of my control. And so even though that sounds like almost like toxic positivity, like delusional, like act like it's not happening, it was actually the piece of advice that I needed to get through to my each day, because it was so out of my control that they were just kind of like, each day, press on type of situation. And that was actually during the time of when I had my Airbnb cleaning company. So during that time of when I was like at my lowest, I had somebody tell me like, you kind of just have to press on. They were the one person that understood it's completely out of your control. There's nobody that can this or that or whatever. Yeah. So I just took that piece of advice and I kept on pressing forward no matter what, because everything was so out of my control. And then ultimately I ended up getting into entrepreneurship and business during such a hard time, because I had people tell me, just keep going. You have to act right now. In this moment, you have to act like nothing else is happening besides you having to push forward every single day. And that's what I did. And then the part two of that is somebody told me, to get my shit together. And it was as simple as that. The person that told me that was a really well-respected person in like, a really prominent Black community. Yeah. And so having somebody like that as a role model, keeping it real with me, I was probably 24 and she was like, you're a little girl type of situation. I'm like 5'10". She's like half of my size, literally a little short, but she knows better, and she seen it, both of them actually seen in me what I couldn't see in myself at the time. So they gave me the space to fail, but then also to learn, and they didn't give up on me, right? So I'm still very close with those two individuals today, and they're still very much so a part of my life. And my life has definitely changed ever since those two pieces of information changed my life.
Okay, dope. So on the show we like to make predictions. I know you talked about equity earlier, but I want to replay this in 5 years. I want to replace it like, she did say that she was going to do that. Yeah. So in 5 years, where do you see yourself?
I see myself with like 2.5 mil.
Okay, 2.5. That's pretty specific. Specific.
Yeah, it's specific. It's really specific because, how I am with my goals. Like I really put certain numbers out there. I put deadlines. Even if I don't reach them, I'm still going, to try and attain that. So I do really see a certain life for myself. And like I said, I do have quite high performing individuals around me that have accomplished really great things. So when you could see it in front of you, makes it much more easy for you to believe it. Like, wow, that could be me. You don't really know how fully yet, but yeah, that could be you, you know? And I actually had said to somebody, Jeff Bezos was, I think he did Amazon at like 33 or hit his first mil at 33 or something like that. 2.5 mil at 33. And I had mentioned to somebody, like, they're like, yeah, that's crazy. I'm like, well, some of my clients have done that at 33.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, even though I was telling somebody else, it made me realize, like, wow, that's a lot of work. Yeah. Don't let me discredit nobody, but that's what I aspire. And it's not necessarily for the money. It's all for just the lifestyle. Like, I want to be able to provide for family, friends, have everybody over for, the holidays and stuff. Yeah. I don't want to leave my house. I want people to come to my house if they're invited.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I hear you. Okay. Yeah. So 2.5 million in 5 years at an inflated price, whatever it is then.
Yes, exactly.
Is there anything that you want to leave everyone with besides your contact information?
Okay, cool. What I want to leave everybody with is honestly just to find the right people that you can associate with and level your life up with consistently. There's going to be people that fall off, especially when you have big dreams. Not a lot of people can, continue on the path of somebody that has such big dreams. We're actually kind of hard to be around at times because our mind is always thinking so big. Pretty annoying, actually, having somebody that just wants to constantly talk business and talk big dreams and stuff. And to somebody that has never thought that way, to them, it's like, what world are you in? It's not that they want to doubt you, but they just really don't see it. So to associate yourself with people that might not fully understand your vision, but they believe that you could do it
100%.
Even if they don't understand, and just support you along the way. So I would just find the right people. And with the internet, there's a lot of navigating to do. So, fact check people, have conversations, and you'll find the right group of people, the right certain people that can really put you in the right direction, propel you in the right direction. Mentors, sponsors, all of those people that will mention your name in a room when you're not in it. Just make sure you're associated with those people, because those people are out there. And what that has done for my career, I would only wish that on other people, specifically women. So, I really want women in business specifically to find the right mentors and the right role models, no matter if they're 16, 19, 25, because if I had somebody earlier in life really show me the way, then that 2.5 mil, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about 5 years from now,
Yeah.
But it's the reality of things, is to associate yourself with the right people. And like I said, some people will fall off, things will change. It's okay. Just keep on going. You'll find your people will find you, you'll continue to grow, people will support you. And you want to be around those type of people that make you feel really good about what it is that you're trying to build.
And consistency is the cheat code.
Yes, consistency is the cheat code.
Okay, dope. And your information for everyone?
Yes, so you could reach out to my Instagram at Inspired by Chandel. You can also go to my agency website, which is marketingcreates.com. That's marketingcreates.com. You can always send me a DM. I'm really chill, so I'll chop it up in the DM.
Okay, dope. Episode 22, Black is the New Rich podcast, and thank you for coming.
No
I appreciate
problem.
it.
Everything black on black. If I studied that fact.